All right, I'm going to go ahead and get us started. Welcome to our Agrivoltaics and Education webinar brought to you by the Colorado Agrivoltaic Learning Center. The Colorado Agrivoltaic Learning Center, also called CALC, is the nonprofit organization associated with Jack's Solar Garden located in Longmont, Colorado. Our mission is to provide outreach, support, and educational materials centered on land stewardship under solar arrays. We do this through a variety of methods such as tours, events, field trips, documentary screenings, and more. We also have a library of resources on our website from past webinars to lessons for teachers. This webinar will also be recorded and made available on our website within the next 2 weeks. Byron Komenick serves as our executive director. Allison Jackson is our education and policy manager. Liz Voss is our program manager. Carolita Landers is the Agricultural Outreach Coordinator. Sydney St. Rose Vier is our Policy Analyst. And Michelle Heineman is our Administrative Assistant and in charge of scheduling these wonderful webinars. My name is Emma Miller, and I am the Agrivoltaics Educator and Moderator for today's topic, Agrivoltaics and Education. We are excited that you decided to join us today. We have a range of perspectives to share with you regarding agrivoltaics and education. First, we will hear from some student groups from DSST Green Valley Ranch High School as they share their experience using agrivoltaics as a solution to local climate problems to earn their seal of climate literacy. We also have Jaye Zola joining us from Classrooms for Climate Action. She will share about the projects our organizations have partnered on to motivate student climate advocacy within the Boulder Valley School District. Finally, I will be sharing lessons, field trips, and other resources that CALC has designed to support educators along the Front Range and beyond. If you are not an educator, stay tuned. We have ideas and opportunities for your involvement as well. Please throw your questions in the Q&A for our speakers. When everyone has finished speaking, we will open it up and start digging into answers. As speakers are able, they may also respond to your questions in the Q&A. So, the Seal of Climate Literacy was signed into law and addresses the need for environmental awareness and education for Colorado youth. By completing coursework and a capstone project, students demonstrate their understanding of local climate issues while taking action in their community. This work is recognized with a seal that is added to their diploma upon graduation. In March, 27 DSST Green Valley Ranch students under Rachel Gano's instruction completed a dual-use agrivoltaic design challenge targeting solar arrays in the Green Valley Ranch neighborhood with support from CALC. Today, 2 groups of students are here to present their projects and the impact this project had on their learning and future goals. For our first group, we will hear from Valeria, Bella, Allison, Melanie, Tanya, and Mpoma.
All right, good evening, everyone. This is our project about agrivoltaics that we completed for the Seal of Climate Literacy. Next slide, please.
So what is agrivoltaics? Agrivoltaics is when farmers use the same land to grow crops and generate solar energy at the same time. Solar panels are usually installed above crops or farmlands so that farmers can grow food while also generating electricity from the sun. This system helps save the land, produce clean energy, and sometimes even protect crops from extreme heat.
Next slide, please. All right, this is what a generalized, diagram of it would look like, where both the plant and solar panels are receiving solar energy at the same time, further emphasizing the efficiency of agrivoltaics. Next slide. This was our research site. As you can see, it's pretty desolate and the soil there isn't great to work with. So it was really important that we got to learn more about agrivoltaics so that we could perfectly and efficiently implement its practices to help better this land. Next slide, please.
So our objective is to find out if we can successfully implement agrivoltaic practices into our community, specifically at the solar panel site next to our school. By doing so, we will be able to make use of all the desolate land that surrounds the fields of solar panels, and we're trying to maximize the potential of the land that holds solar panels.
Next slide, please.
So what is the issue?
Oftentimes, it can be a struggle when implementing agrivoltaics as it's considered a hard sell because of the lack of funding, farming challenges such as soil damage and zoning conflicts. Specifically, since Denver is known as a semi-arid climate, meaning it's not raining nor is it a desert, having agrivoltaics saves water through irrigation systems, which can go for a high cost, making a large-scale projects not as common in Denver. Next slide. Benefits. Agrivoltaics is beneficial because it allows farmers to use the same land to grow crops and produce solar energy. The solar panel provides shade from high heat and helps the soil stay moist, which reduces the amount of water needed to water the crops. Next slide. And while there are some advantages, we also want to make clear that there are some disadvantages, such as managing both agricultural production and electrical infrastructure requires specialized knowledge, as well as excessive shading can increase disease rates in plants and reduce quality. Sun-dependent crops will have a harder time growing, and overall, the projects can be really expensive.
Next slide, please. Okay. How will this impact our community? Agrivoltaic practices provide an opportunity for us to give back and better our community, be it selling whatever produce we have at the local farmers market or even donating it to the food bank of the Rockies. Implementing agrivoltaics into communities helps source fresh produce throughout the community and just general, and as well as holds soil in place so that once it gets windy and there are storms, the environment becomes less dangerous. Next slide, please. And for our project, we are going to be testing the soil to find ways that we can amend it to see if that there is any way that we can successfully grow anything there or even have livestock there to help improve the quality of the land. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Group 1. We're next going to be hearing from Group 2, Fatima, Sarah, and Asya.
So our project is Agrivoltaic. Next slide. Agrivoltaics is when land is used for both farming of crops and for solar panels. This combination of solar panels with farming ensures that the land is used to its fullest and has maximum use. This way, crops are being planted beneath the solar panels and plants get shade. The panels are cooled down from the evaporation from the plants. The science, next slide. The science behind agrivoltaics. Solar panels absorb sunlight and turn it into electricity using photovoltaic cells. But not all sunlight is blocked, and some light still reaches the crops below. Some solar panels are designed to tilt during the day to control how much sunlight reaches the plants and to give them the proper amount of light. This creates partial shade, which lowers soil temperature and reduces how much water evaporates from the ground, helping plants stay healthier during hot weather and reduces water evaporation. At the same time, plants release moisture into the air through transpiration, which can slightly cool the solar panels and help them work more efficiently. Some of the advantages of agrivoltaics are agrivoltaics helps reach renewable energy goals while preserving and using farmland. It enhances soil quality as land is being used for livestock and farming. Crops under the panels help cool the panels, allowing for maximum electricity generation. Shade provided by the solar panels improves working conditions for the farmers. The shade provided by these panels protects crops from extreme heat, helping with plant growth. Next slide. Some of the disadvantages of agrivoltaics includes its expense. It costs much more to build because the panels must be raised high enough for tractors to drive under them. Less harvest. Many crops like corn or wheat grow slower and produce less food because of the shade. Driving risks. It's difficult to steer large farm machinery around the metal poles without hitting them. Uneven water. Rain drips off the panels in heavy lines, making some parts of the soil too muddy and other parts too dry. Next slide.
An example of agrivoltaics here in Colorado is Jack's Solar Garden, located in Boulder County, Colorado. They produce renewable solar energy while farming and growing crops too, ensuring that all their land is used to its full potential. Next slide, please. Okay, so for our project, we created a small-scale model to show how agrivoltaics works. For our model, we used a bin filled with soil and plants, placed next to a window in our classroom to simulate the amount of sunlight plants will get with agrivoltaics. Our model helps demonstrate how solar panels provide shade for crops, reducing water loss from the soil and still having the ability to generate renewable energy. Overall, this project shows how agrivoltaics is a simple and sustainable way to grow food and produce clean power together. Next slide, please. The bigger goal with this project is to work with the local solar farm beside our school in order to convert the land into a dual-use property. Our goal is to have the land function as both farmland and generate solar energy simultaneously. The site is located right beside DSST GVR High School, and we hope to work on making our project happen in the years to come. Next slide, please. The purpose of this project is to advocate for more solar fields to be converted into dual-use lands. For Green Valley Ranch specifically, we want to propose for the owners to partner with local farmers to plant crops underneath their solar panels. This would benefit our local community by providing an additional source of food for people living in our community. It would also improve air quality by securing the loose, dry soil where the solar farms are located. This helps to both preserve soil quality and create better food options. We want to plant radishes, tomatoes, and chives because they grow well with limited sunlight. We also propose to plant plants native to Colorado because they grow well in the dry environment.
Okay. Why it matters. Agrivoltaics matters because it allows us to both farm and produce solar energy at the same time. This is important because land is limited, and instead of occupying hundreds of acres of land for just solar panels, we can utilize it for producing both energy and crops. Next slide. Agrivoltaics has a promising future because it will allow us to grow food and produce clean energy on the same land. As climate gets hotter and drier, the shade from solar panels can help protect crops and save water. Without agrivoltaics, land under solar panels would mostly be unused and no crops would be grown there. Farmers would lose valuable space that could have been used to grow food or raise animals. This makes agrivoltaics crucial because it helps save farmland, protect crops, and produce renewable electricity at the same time. Next slide. Soil testing for nitrogen. Some things that we have done is soil testing for nitrogen, potassium, phosphorus from the solar fields. Oh my gosh, okay. Observing plant growth, how long it takes, and if it grows on the type of soil out in the solar field panels. This project would help provide for school lunches, donations to food banks, and help create a shared community space for leased farmers. This would improve the environment around our community, reducing dust storms and excess dirt that is not secured with plant roots, and improve air quality. Next slide. The impact of our project is that our project is ongoing and therefore we don't have completed results. We are, however, working with the Colorado Agrivoltaics Learning Center and the solar panel array beside our school to get agrivoltaics going under the solar panel array here in GVR. We also presented our project to Colorado stakeholders, and they are also aware of our goals and hopes with this project. We will be receiving their help and guidance on this project as well. Implementing agrivoltaics in our community will not only allow us to give feedback and improve school lunches, but also sell the food and help us ensure that the soil isn't just sitting around and losing its quality over time.
Great. Thank you so much, GVR. We're really excited to see where your project goes in the future. All right, so next we have Jaye Zola. Jaye is a retired Boulder Valley school teacher and a current climate resiliency coordinator with Classrooms for Climate Action, also called C4CA. C4CA supports teachers and students to take local climate action, focusing on intersectional environmentalism and integrating climate action into all content areas. Calc and C4CA have worked together developing advocacy-based learning for students in BVSD centered on agrivoltaics. Jaye will share the impacts of our collaboration.
Hi, all. Thank you. Nice to be here. And students, that was amazing. What you did is really exciting. I got the chance, and C4CA got the chance to work with Allison and Emma at four Boulder Valley schools. Fairview, where we worked in the climate, a course which is on climate change. At Broomfield, a course that was on environmental studies, and Arapahoe Ridge, which was a climate course, and fourth grade elementary classroom at BCSIS. At the high schools, we ran a week-long solar siting activity where students learned about agrivoltaics and participated in a debate where they had roles of different stakeholders. Before the debate, the students learned about agrivoltaics and saw the broad spectrum of agriculture, sustainability, and community building that they can do, as we saw at Jack's Solar Garden. Once the students understood agrivoltaics and their potential, they looked at zoning and land use codes, two things I'm sure they have never knew existed in their lives, and it was interesting to them. They got to see their county from a different perspective. From this, they learned the county's rules on the siting of agrivoltaics, and the county's goals for sustainability and renewable energy and land use. So once they had this background information of the politics behind using agrivoltaics, they were assigned roles to do a debate, and they had time to research and were given various resources to support their position. And they were to prepare an argument and explain their position to share with the class in a debate. Some of the roles were a farmer who is dubious about agrivoltaics, a city resident, solar developer, city council members, etc. Some students had never done a role play before, so it was really a challenge for some of them to take a role that they weren't particularly comfortable with that position, but they did great. And then after they debated this from their role point of view, the next day they were able to talk to people in the community, actual stakeholders in the real world about what should we do about solar panels in Boulder County. Where should we put them? What kind should we use? And so the good part about that was they got a chance to express their own opinion using a lot of the resources that they learned from the role play and from the information beforehand. They could talk about land use code, pros and cons of solar siting. It was a robust debate. It was a really wonderful chance for them after the debate to talk to people in the real world. And I could really tell that students knew what they were talking about and were able to really look at how complicated the issue could be or is. As a wrap up, one of the classes wrote letters to the county commissioners about their position on the use of agrivoltaics and what the county should be open to. The Fairview class visited Jack's Solar Garden after the debate and were actually able to see the real world of agrivoltaics. And they have put up 5 solar panels with garden plots underneath. This year they've just planted native plants, but next year they're going to try doing vegetables to raise for the school garden, much like the students are trying to do. And they can also use this week as part of their seal of climate literacy work. So the week-long activity was a great way for students to learn how they can address climate change. And the agrivoltaic siting unit helped them. The unit was based upon actual standards, which is what we try and do when we teach a classroom unit. And the standard that this unit gave was evaluate or refine a technological solution that reduces impact of human activities on natural systems. So what a great activity to meet that standard. In the elementary school, the unit was called Agrivoltaics are a climate solution. And as you can see, all grades can learn about agrivoltaics. So Classrooms for Climate Action supports K-12 teachers and students to take local climate action. And retired teachers work with classroom teachers and librarians to create units that work on local climate issues, which this is a perfect topic, nature-based climate solutions, and social justice to create standard-based units that get students involved in systemic change. And we partner with nonprofits, businesses, and local governments as resources to bring into the real world, bring the real world into the classroom. So Jack's Solar Garden is a perfect partner, and the solar siting debate was a great unit. And Allison and Emma were wonderful working with high school students. So we look forward to continuing this and having more students in next year's classes be able to do the unit again.
Great. Thank you so much, Jay. We really enjoyed working with Classrooms for Climate Action as well. And we feel like we've had some really cool projects come out of this partnership. So thank you. All right. So to finish, I'm going to share a little bit about the programming that we offer at Calc. So as I stated before, my name is Emma Miller. I am the Agrivoltaics Educator here. And we believe that the learning should be engaging, hands-on, and unforgettable. And that's why we have created field trips, classroom visits, projects, and digital resources designed to meet, as Jay said, those state and national standards that teachers are teaching to, but without sacrificing the fun. Agrivoltaics is a great tool because it weaves together agriculture, renewable energy, environmental studies, and more. And it also opens the door to countless new career paths. Our education programming so far has impacted over 5,500 students in Colorado and beyond. I'm going to quickly highlight some of these resources and their impact, and then a couple of ways that you can get involved so we can continue to expand this reach. On the screen right now is a QR code that will take you to our Education One page. This summarizes all of the resources we have available at this time. Please feel free to share this with teachers, parents, or other educators in your network. I wanted to first touch on our field trips because seeing is believing is kind of the mantra behind all of the tours and field trips at Jack's. Our field trips are offered from April through October and are 100% free for all 4th through 12th grade students. In 2026, we also began offering an Agrivoltaics Access Fund to provide scholarships to Title I schools that are in need of transportation support. This makes sure that all of our students in Colorado have equitable access to this programming. All of the field trips include a tour of Jack's Solar Garden and a choice of many activities or lessons that are rooted in those standards. And so on the screen right now is a QR code if you're interested in requesting a field trip. So why are these field trips so important? For most students and even adults, being at JAX is the first time that they can be in, around, under, or near solar power. We fear what we don't know and what we don't understand. It creates misconceptions about how solar is noisy or dangerous or will electrify our food. Being at JAX makes solar a known entity. They can see it, they can hear it, they can make observations of the wildlife and vegetation, they can see people happily at work under the panels. Some days they may even get to try some peppermint or raspberries. We can reduce the misconceptions about renewable energy at a young age by giving them the space to learn and explore under these solar panels because of the care and attention that has gone into the installation. This is a really cool model for future solar installations around the country and making it an educational tool. We also offer classroom visits. From October to April, when the farm is closed, classroom visits provide a way to continue agrivoltaic programming. It's also an opportunity to reach schools that have transportation barriers. Classroom visits also provide the ability to do some longer project-based learning, such as the solar siting debate that you heard about from Jay, or our Seal of Climate Literacy projects that you heard about from the DSST students. We can also bring all of the required materials for any of our lab-based lessons, such as the microclimate explorations, solar tinkering, and more. In 2026, we will launch the mobile classroom trailer pictured on the screen to expand our classroom and event outreach. Again, all of these resources are 100% free and are rooted in standards. So one thing I really like about classroom visits is they provide more opportunities to engage in agrivoltaics. First, students just love having a guest speaker. It's a change of pace and content. This letter was sent from a student who participated in our agrivoltaic economics game, where students are trying to maximize their farm profit. Students love learning through a game. Most recently, we did a classroom visit with some fourth graders, and they were measuring the electricity use of different appliances in their classroom in a lesson called What Will You Power? Students were almost gleefully computing watt hours without calculators because they had drawn the connection between the math they were doing and how it was going to help them determine the number of solar panels their classroom might need. By visiting classrooms, we can help shift the focus from just Jack's Solar Garden to how agrivoltaics can support their school and neighborhood, maybe even their communities. These are just a couple of examples of how agrivoltaic lessons can captivate students and give the teacher a day off from lesson planning. Our digital resources are available 24/7 and are easy to implement, and you guessed it, 100% free. You can find all of our materials on our For Educators page under the Activity Resources button. Each quarter, we are adding new resources, so make sure you return to see what's new. Digital resources are critical for making agrivoltaics accessible to every student. Ready-to-use lessons are beneficial to teachers for sure, but it also allows students to pursue asynchronous learning to support their capstones, research projects, science fairs, and more. It also allows us to share our learning with other states such as Arizona or Wisconsin, or even other countries. Schools from Brazil and Australia have registered to use these resources. With agrivoltaic projects all over the United States, it's not just Colorado students that could benefit from these lessons. So hopefully you're thinking about how these resources can be put to use in your schools or communities, but you may also be wondering how you can get involved and participate. Our education team is so grateful to be supported by a team of wonderful volunteers. These volunteers make it possible to host larger field trips, offer more activities, and ensure student safety. If you are interested in our education mission and would like to support on-site programming, you can use the QR code to sign up as an education volunteer. No education experience is required. Our Seal of Climate Literacy work and project-based learning is more impactful when we are able to pull in stakeholders from industry and academia. So you heard the DSST students talk about meeting with stakeholders, and you also heard Jay meeting with stakeholders. These are people who come in and volunteer to listen to student presentations, provide feedback, share their work, and more. Students walk away from these sessions with new career information and feel empowered to pursue agrivoltaic solutions in their communities. In March, when we held the Agrivoltaic showcase for these 27 DSST students, they found the stakeholder feedback challenging but inspiring. Students heard adults from multiple sectors wrestling with the same challenges that they experienced during their projects, and it gave them a sense that they're prepared to join in these challenges after graduation. So if you are interested in this mission and would like to support, you can use the QR code here to sign up for stakeholder community participation. We've had individuals from solar industry, government and policy. We've had partner organizations like C4CA. These are all really beneficial perspectives for students to hear about when they're working on their projects. Right, so with that, I would like to move us into our Q&A session. So if you have any questions for our panelists, you can throw them in the Q&A and we can start to answer those. I can start us off with one. I know one question I've received about the DSST projects is around DSST students and if they've considered, instead of just crop production, maybe looking at livestock or other options, since they mentioned that the soil quality is so bad. So Rachel or one of the students from DSST GVR, maybe you can answer that question for us.
We were considering, or animals, livestock are in consideration for us when it comes to like trying to amend the soil. The problem is that we're not really sure who would be the one looking after the livestock because there's like, obviously we need to hire farmers. Like as students, that's not something we will be able to do. So if we are to implement livestock into our project, then it would be a little bit more difficult and we would have to acquire more resources to do so.
Another question for DSST GVR. Can the students talk about what they found the most interesting aspect of learning about agrivoltaics?
The most like interesting thing that we found about like learning about agrivoltaics was, I guess, like seeing how like different like aspects comes together when thinking about like just implementing like one idea. So it's like you have to think about zoning and everything, like how much are the height of the solar panels, like what angle. So I feel like it's just like a learning experience, and it was very interesting to just like learn about new things like that people have to think about when doing a project like this.
Adding on to that a little bit with like budgeting was also like interesting because livestock, like you said earlier, it's a little bit more like expensive compared to like plant irrigation, just because of like how much effort people have to like put into taking care of those animals so they don't die, for example. Yeah, so budgeting was like a thing that we got like a lot of feedback on, and also like something that we could improve, look more into closer next time.
Awesome, thank you. Can the students define healthy soil, or how will you be assessing that?
So for healthy soil, we did some soil testing to see if they have like nitrogen, phosphorus, stuff like that, just to see if like they have enough nutrients for the plants to grow. And also seeing like the soil at the site we're working with right now is very like dry, and it barely holds up. So we could see that that's very like not healthy. And just seeing if like plants actually thrive there. So we did realize that there was like some weed growing. So of course, like it was good, but it was also a sign that like we want the right stuff to grow.
All right. So we also received a question, what kinds of workforce development opportunities are there for students that want to transition into agrivoltaic work? At this time, I am not aware of specific opportunities for agrivoltaic workforce development. It's on our radar as something, as a gap in education that we need to pursue. But yes, that's a good question. I think right now the focus is on getting students exposed to the different career paths and the careers that they might not be seeing or encountering in their daily coursework. We also received the question, is the Colorado Agrivoltaic Learning Center working with any schools on the Western Slope? We're open to working with any schools who are interested in partnership. It might look like a little more virtual interaction than in person, although we do travel. So yeah, if you know a school on the Western Slope and you're looking for Seal of Climate Literacy projects or other resources, please reach out to us. We're happy to support. I have done some virtual lessons with schools in Glenwood Springs and other areas that are a little bit harder for us to get to. So we can definitely make something happen. Agrivoltaics, especially crop-based, takes one or more growing season to see the outcomes. How do you provide engagement with students over multiple months or years? So DSST students have the benefit of being located right next to the solar array that they're hoping to make into a project. It's obviously not going, but in theory, if that becomes functional, that's a space for them to use for time to come. We've also developed some raised bed agrivoltaic lessons. So for schools that have raised beds and can install a solar panel or two, that becomes a source of data for them for year to year. We also are looking at doing some of this work at Jack's. So historically, Allison has had a raised bed with solar panel over top, and then she collects data with students out there. We're also kind of looking at the idea of potentially doing some more with students in the actual growing and gardening aspect of the learning. So yeah, there's lots of ways on how we can start to shift that engagement over multiple months or years. But right now, it kind of depends on the resources that the school has access to, or if they're able to visit us from season to season. All right, for the students again, I'm curious about what the students most look forward to using the seal for applying agrivoltaics to their career interests specifically. Is this an overall addition to your resume, life experience? How do you see the seal of climate literacy?
I feel as though for a lot of us, attaining the seal of climate literacy was just a really interesting way to sort of like just to gain experience with more science-based projects, because we do attend a science and technology school. Because we are able to like interact with different scientists so much, attaining the seal of climate literacy just seemed very important for a lot of us, especially since for colleges as well, we want to highlight our ability to interact with different types of sciences and technology.
Any other students want to answer that one? All right. Okay, also for the students, you guys are popular. If you have the opportunity to have any job related to agrivoltaics, what job might you be interested in?
For me personally, I think I would want to work with in agrivoltaics that involves like livestock. It'd be really interesting to see like how livestock and solar panels would be able to like thrive together at the same time.
For me, I'm thinking like business or medical. So like anything with like biotechnology or like how solar panels work, along with like STEM related, anything with agriculture. Yeah, something like that.
Awesome. I've got a question for Jaye. So Jaye, how would you recommend recruiting more volunteers to support agrivoltaic education?
Hmm. It's a good question. We work with kind of word of mouth at this point. And I think one way could be going through a school district's science coordinator or social studies coordinator and see if they're interested. But for us as an organization, it's really word of mouth, and we were retired teachers, so we have connections with the schools we used to work in, and so that's one way where we've been able to network. But otherwise, it is a challenge, I think.
Thanks, Jay. So as instructors, what point or points do you want to make sure the students take away from a visit to Jack's Solar Garden? So for me personally, I think what's so cool about Jack's is that Byron didn't settle for what was the traditional practice. Like he kind of pushed and made changes to the array to make it usable for the community, to make it produce food, and make it this really great education space. So I think that's a really important lesson for students as well. Is just because it's been done this way before does not mean it has to be done this way every single time. And it's something we hear from students a lot is the idea of innovation and seeing something new and seeing that they can do new things. And so I think that's one of the biggest things. But also I think just that access to experiencing what solar is like, when you hear the misconceptions that grown adults have about renewable energy, it can make your head spin a little bit. And so I think getting students out there at a young age and experiencing and seeing it is important for eliminating those misconceptions and hopefully eliminating some of those roadblocks that are preventing us from being able to move forward as a society in terms of energy. Jay, did you want to add to this question at all?
I think one of the things it does, it gives kids hope because it's such a positive problem that gets solved by agrivoltaics on so many levels. So in this day and age where climate change is, kids have anxiety about it, this is a real hands-on, seeable solution. And I think the kids come away with a different picture of the county that they live in, and they also get to meet people that are working on climate issues and take it seriously. And they also learn a lot of science and civics. So on many levels, they walk away with a more real life lookout on where they live and hope for the future.
Yeah, that you brought up another, like a third great point that I love is that it's intersectional. Like it covers so many different topics. And so students have multiple access points to get involved. So even if they're not STEM necessarily, maybe they're really policy and civics oriented. And so there's still a way for them to find access through agrivoltaics. Thanks, Jay. Um, Okay, so what are the biggest barriers to more schools and students enrolling in obtaining the seal? And how can the public support? Okay, so the biggest barrier is that districts can decide to offer the seal or not. And so if they choose not to offer the seal, then those students in that district just don't have access to the seal of climate literacy. There is maybe this it's been tossed around that there might be a way for students to earn the seal outside of their district, but as far as I know, there's no movement in making that like actionable in at least in the next school year. So I think that's the biggest barrier. And I suppose for public supporting, find out if your school district offers it, and if they don't offer it, you could start asking them why. It's not equitable for some schools to be offering it and not others. So I think that's the biggest way that the public can support. Another way the public can support is by reaching out to your school districts. And if you are in the industry, offering to support students in their projects. You can also join us and help us with our projects and making sure that we can get as many students access as possible. Okay, and then the most difficult concept about agrivoltaics to convey to students. I think the biggest thing is that for students, things are still fairly like black and white. And so they see something like Jack's Solar Garden and it's like, well, why isn't this everywhere? And so I think for them, and I think it's hard for us as adults to explain it too, because it makes us sad, but explaining all of the the permitting and all of the like getting people on board and persuading developers, persuading farmers, persuading all these different groups of people takes time and energy and effort, is probably the hardest part. Everything else they're pretty ready to jump in and learn about. But I think they get frustrated when they start to hear about some of the obstacles to creating these solutions and making them more popular. All right. I don't see any other questions in the Q&A, but I wanted to ask a question of Rachel if she is able to answer. So Rachel is the instructor with the DSST students, and I'm wondering if she can share about like just her experience with this project and how she's seen the students grow and develop during this project.
Yeah, thank you, Emma. By the way, I'm Rachel. I teach AP Bio and Bio at GVR, and I also host Bioscience Club, which was Emma's club when she was in our school. So I've had the opportunity to have a lovely group of kids who are interested about science, interested about environment, biomedical science, all sorts of that. And we started off with the idea of what projects could we possibly do, and what projects are they interested in, leading towards the seal of climate literacy, its importance and whatnot. And then Emma came into the picture because she collaborated with one of our teachers, and I've had the chance to ask her about what she does as she left school, and she is still in education, which is perfect timing. We owe the project, the kids and I owe a lot of the things that we achieved with Emma's partnership and obviously Jack's Solar Garden, and we're going to visit them on Friday. I think the biggest takeaway is just having the kids understand that these opportunities for learning are not just for the seal, but really understanding what they learned and grounding them with hands-on stuff. So we did some planting. It's not in the solar panel field, but it's something that they can start off with owning that type of how do we take care of plants in good soil, and what does that look like for soil that we sample that's literally nothing grows and stuff like that. And I think the biggest learning curve was when we had that presentation where we had stakeholders from all around. It was eye-opening for them. It was educational at the same time. It grounded us with what work we need to do still if we're fully committed with this. And so for next school year, we will move forward with the project. We'll take it with the kids' ideas. I know we just got the results from CSU, and so maybe we could talk about how we'll work on that soil and what other strategies we can do. But since having had the first batch of kids, all of these 18 lovely kids receive the seal of climate literacy, I've had numerous kids who are interested and who want to do possibly the same projects or different projects towards the seal of climate literacy. And yes, it is a badge of achievement on their degrees, on their future applications and stuff, but also more than that, it's like owning their own learning in that space.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks, Rachel. And yeah, so to clarify, we had 27 students participate in the project, but 18 of them already have earned their seal.
That's great.
So they're set for graduation. It's awesome. Emma and company, how did you connect with GVR High School? I think Rachel answered that one for us. So I actually did teach at GVR High School before joining Calc. And so Rachel and I were connected already. But that being said, I felt like GVR was kind of the perfect school for this project because they have 3 solar arrays within view of their classroom. So actually the solar array that students designed their project for, they could see from Rachel's window. And so, yeah, a little bit of previous connection, but also just like GVR has a really, really great opportunity on how to expand this into classrooms for projects rather than just drop-in lessons. So what we did with DSST GVR is I developed modules that could be run asynchronously. So I actually only visited GVR 2, maybe 3 times for this project. And one of those was for the stakeholder meeting. And so I really didn't I produced the modules and then sent those to Rachel, and Rachel was able to implement those with her students. And so what this looks like going into other classrooms, we can take these same modules and replicate it in other districts. Other districts, though, might have different Seal of Climate Literacy expectations. And so part of my job right now is finding out from districts what they're looking for in their Seal of Climate Literacy project, and then retrofitting this project to fit in with what they're looking for. So we also have some materials put together for Boulder Valley school districts and their Seal of Climate Literacy that looks different because they're doing a portfolio of experiences rather than a single overlying capstone project. So yeah, it can be more than just the drop-in lessons for sure. Some of it might require a little bit of teacher support with those lessons. Yeah, Rachel?
All right. Also, just to include, we also have another DSST school who has been running the Seal of Climate Literacy. She had it built into her classes for seniors. She had it built so that their senior project is towards the Seal of Climate Literacy. And so with her class, I know she built some structure around it. So for her class, they have different projects. As opposed to for ours this year, we all focused on agrivoltaics. So something like that, having to have in class, think about maybe what projects are we interested in, what problems are we trying to solve, and then have the kids actually do it in class where there's more dedicated time, I think is even more structured and is a better space besides us having clubs and meeting times weekly.
Great. Thanks, Rachel. All right. Any other questions? All right. Okay. So Taylor says, who wants to design solar PV systems to better accommodate agrivoltaic concepts? I encourage the students to explore the technology and implementation. I'm an electrical engineer working with engineers of all disciplines and designing large systems like this. We need help actualizing crop agrivoltaic concepts because they are not as popular as they should be. Yeah, and I think getting kids excited about careers like this is really important too. So Taylor, maybe hopefully some of your future engineers are in the DSST classrooms right now, learning what they need to learn so they can come help you implement those solutions. All right, if there are no other questions, we will go ahead and wrap up a little bit early. Thank you so much for joining us today in our Agrivoltaics and Education webinar. We hope the perspectives from our students and our partner organizations have inspired you to action. Please share these materials and this recorded webinar when available to the teachers and educators in your community. And if you have the capacity, we would love it if you joined our opportunities like the stakeholder community participation or volunteering. We will see you next time.